Not too bad. Yeah, so let's...
Can you hear me okay?
I can hear you okay, yeah. You're a bit sort of echoey, but that's okay. Thank you for joining me. I hope you don't mind as I sip the coffee. Put across your side of this whole drama, and in particular, I think what many people would like to hear is your evidence for suspecting, or not even just suspecting, pointing the finger at Kristi and Danny Corks. Thank you.
Well, I mean, I'll make one thing clear. In that last video that I made, where I pointed the finger at Kristi and Danny, that was an opinion. I stated that was an opinion, and I also said very clearly that you know, if this were a court hearing, would I be able to prove this? And I said no, I wouldn't. So you don't need proof for an opinion, Philip. You just don't need it.
But yet, despite the fact that you don't have that's
not saying I haven't got any though. So go on.
Okay, but despite the fact that you're saying that this wouldn't hold up, that you don't have the body of evidence really to prove in the legal sense that this was the case, you were still thought it was absolutely fine to make a video that not only sort of indirectly, possibly, maybe pointed the finger at Danny and Kristi. You know, it was a fairly strong indictment. You're happy to... I've watched the video, Patrick. I've watched the video.
Yeah, okay, I believe you, man. Look, I've seen plenty of videos that you've published where you state your opinion. You know, am I allowed to do the same, Philip?
You are, but when I state my opinion, I am not. My opinion is not. I am pointing the finger at direct individuals and saying that these are the people, or intimating that these are the people. Hang on.
You put up a video the other day tearing shreds off me. You got half of that wrong. Was that not pointing fingers at me?
Did I at any point suggest that you, for example, had released private information about me? At any point?
No, that's all.
Right. Okay, well, so there's different levels here, right? I can criticize and I can critique you. Agreed? That's what you spend your entire channel was about, is about criticizing and critiquing. I would call it something else. You would call it criticizing and critiquing. Okay? And you do that. You had, I don't know, count.
What would you call it, Philip?
I would call it name calling an awful lot of the time, and I would call it slurs and slagging off people with not a huge amount of research or not a huge amount of backup in terms of your arguments. We've had this debate.
You haven't watched very many of my videos, have you, Philip?
I've watched about 10 of them, I would say, in particular the one that resulted in a whole number, and with the one we've discussed at length for your YouTube thread, where a whole host of your subscribers, fans, followers, whatever you want to call them, ended up targeting videos from a teenager on the subject of makeup, simply because she'd made a video about feminism. But we're getting off the point. We're getting off the point.
Just to finish that point up, that's not good. I don't condone that. I don't like that. I'm not instructing anyone to do that, Philip.
No, and let's be very clear, Patrick. Let's be very clear. Did I ever suggest that you were instructing anyone?
Well, hang on.
At any point, did I ever? No, answer that question. Did I ever suggest?
Why would you start talking about the deeds of another random faceless individual? What the fuck has that got to do with me?
What do you mean, random faceless individual? I don't quite know what you're talking about.
Hang on, you sit there and say, did I ever suggest that you instructed them? No, you didn't, but this is a conversation.
Good, right, okay, so we've answered that question. Let's move on. That's right, that's fine. Okay. No, that's fine. Well, you went down one line. The stream of thought here, the thread was that you said that I had criticized you. Indeed, I criticized you and I critiqued you. But there is a difference in critiquing somebody and then intimating that and blaming and accusing somebody directly or indirectly about releasing private information. There's a whole world of difference. So I will ask again, Patrick, let's not get distracted in different directions. I will ask again, where is your evidence that Kristi and Danny actually released this private information? Where is that evidence? Because if it...
By the way, shut up. It's the first time you've asked it, and I'm happy to answer it, right?
It's not the first time. It's not. We can scroll back. You can scroll back when this is online, but it's not. Just
quiet, man. Listen, the first thing, Danny Courts was without a doubt behind the campaign to bring Fresh TV's attention to my channel. I'm not.
How do you know that? How do you know? First of all, how do you know that?
Because I have a copy of it. I have a copy of his tweet to them, directly stating it in front of me. I'll email it.
Right. So do you think that what you were doing, in terms of taking that intellectual property and using it without attributing it, and as you know, just Patrick, no, I have let you finish your point. I asked you where is the evidence. You've said that's fine. Good, that's fine. Thank you for providing that evidence. Right. So there's a difference here. Okay. There's a key point here. Are you entirely comfortable with the fact that you used that intellectual property, that you took that intellectual property, that you took that cartoon, you used it not just in a sort of fair use context, but you
listen to me. I did the wrong thing.
Good.
I did the wrong thing. Okay.
Good. Thank you.
Stop assuming what I'm going to fucking say. I did the wrong thing. I've owned up to that. All right.
Good.
Let me finish what I was going to fucking say.
Okay.
There was clear evidence that Danny Courts was behind that.
Right. So let's stop there. Let's just stop there. No, I know where your point. You're making your point, and you're tying it in that Danny said to the TV channel that you were exploiting their intellectual property. But if you've admitted that that was what you were doing was wrong, why is it then wrong for that to be highlighted to the channel? If you were a musician, if you're a musician, if somebody was ripping...
You're arguing against things that I haven't said nor was going to say. Shut up and let me finish my fucking point. Right?
Please don't tell me to shut up, Patrick. I've not once told you to shut up. That's very rude. That's very rude, Patrick.
If you want me to detail this information for you, I'm quite happy to do so.
Good.
Have the respect to let me finish what I'm saying, Philip.
Yeah, and you have the respect not to tell me to shut up. Okay.
Okay. Fair point. I'll stop doing that. Right. My point is, Danny Courts was quite clearly behind this. Now it wasn't some conviction, that Danny has, against people using copyrighted images. Otherwise, he would have gone after Kristi. My only point here, this is one of many points. My only point here is that it demonstrates a level of animosity. It demonstrates a level of animosity that someone like Danny Courts could very well be behind this, right? Let's move on.
Let me just write that down, animosity. I wonder where that might have stemmed from, but go on. It stemmed from him challenging me to a debate and him making himself look like an idiot on my channel. They're online. You're free to have a look at them. The second point is the ED article was published on, I think, the 6th of December, right? So we have this article published on the 6th of December. Now, I think it was the 13th of December, Kristi Winters made a video where she says, I visited that page on the 6th of December and I took these screenshots. Right, this is on the 13th. So she's quite clearly saying in a video on the 13th that I was privy to this article going up the very day it was released. I was there front and center looking at it, and for some reason, I felt it necessary to take screenshots of it. So right. So this doxing drama hadn't cropped up yet. This was a non-issue. Why take? Sorry, but is your argument here that because Kristi visited that site on the same day as you're suggesting that the information was released, that's your evidence that she's responsible for it? Is that? Not at all. Not at all. Okay. It's part of many things that would lead me to strongly suspect that Kristi Winters is behind this. Because that's beyond circumstantial. I hope you'll appreciate that in isolation. I'm sure you're going to go on, but that is beyond circumstantial, even if it's true. In isolation, that's ridiculous. Good. Okay. Let's move on. Good. But this isn't in isolation, though, right? Okay. But in isolation, that's ridiculous. Good. Let's go. Yeah, but it's not in isolation, is it, Philip? Well, keep going. Keep going. I'm listening. My third point is that in Tim's video where he spazzes out about people on his own side. Stop with the spazzes out language, will you? You said you wanted a growing up chat. could you stop with the tedious? What age? What? Just if you don't mind, I don't want you to dox yourself, and you can just refuse to answer this. But what age are you, Patrick?
I'm 32.
So start acting like a 32-year-old. Go on, go on.
I sent you a photograph of myself just before, Philip, because you kept saying that I'm a faceless fucking troll. Yeah.
Patrick, I'm talking to a bloody cartoon bear. I'll tell you, put your face up there. Put your face up there. Of course. You've made a career as Hank Green, and I pointed you to that tweet before. A really good way to set up a YouTube channel and make quite a lot of money is to stir up lots of hatred. Your entire video collection, even Phil Mason, Thunderfoot, with whom I've had many debates, even he has said your particular style is not his cup of tea. And that's for Phil Mason. So given that
somebody doesn't like my particular style, what's
yeah, the problem is that your video style is based around slagging off, slurring, and basically abusing other people. From behind a cartoon bear. You seem to think that I care what you stop. I asked, you told me to shut up. I'm not going to tell you to shut up, but just let me finish this point. You seem to think that I care what you look like. I don't care. I make this point time and time again. I couldn't care less who you are. But what I do care is that you lack the intellectual integrity, courage, and just the courage in general to actually do this slagging off, to make your points without hiding behind the cartoon bear. And if you're going to say that's not the case, then get rid of this. I'm talking to a cartoon bear at the moment. Get rid of this and replace it with the picture that you sent me.
No, I'm not. This is
okay. And so, okay,
my brand.
Yeah, of course. No, well, it's your brand now. I must admit that's somewhat less, as I said before, less of a good, solid marketing campaign and less of a solid brand than the previous cartoon. But, you know, that's up to you. It is indeed your brand. I'm delighted you said that. Absolutely delighted you said that, because it is indeed your brand. But then don't talk.
We've already discussed the Fresh TV thing, have we not? Why are you bringing it back there? I don't understand what you...
Because you mentioned it was your brand. Initially, it wasn't. That's the entire point. It wasn't your brand. You ripped off. Good. But you brought the brand name up again. You brought the brand topic. I didn't. You did. So I'm addressing that point. And every time you mention brand, I'm going to remind you that you ripped off that intellectual property. Okay. So continue.
Okay. Right. So Tim does his video where he talks about people on his side being involved in doxing, right? And he uses those words. He says people on my side that are involved in doxing. And he also mentioned, in one instance, he mentions that he was asleep all day. He slept through this. Then in the next breath, he mentions that he'd been arguing all day with a prominent feminist about what is doxing and what isn't doxing. This person who is involved in doxing. Okay? Now, he then, the next day, named to Bearing Cabinet.
Sorry, I do apologise, but this is important. No, I apologise, Patrick, but I would really like that, because what I've seen of maybe you've got stuff that I haven't seen, and I know in one of your videos, which I thought was rather ludicrous, you said that you're holding back this information. All I've seen is the thread in terms of the conversations with this Bearing Cab guy. Is that to which you're, just so we can be entirely clear, so is that to which that's what you're referring to here?
If you've seen the whole thing, then yes, that is what I'm referring to.
Okay, thank you. Because nowhere did I see in that where Tim said that they were responsible for doxing. They said they were discussing, and even this is beyond hearsay. They were discussing doxing.
I've never said.
But you did. No, you did, Patrick. We can scroll this back.
When did I say Kristi Winters is directing?
You said they were discussing doxing. Okay.
That's right. That's right. They're handling information to pass on to someone who's known for doxing. I never said that.
Discussing now. Okay, let's be entirely clear. They're discussing information discussing information, private information to pass on. Where is your evidence that they were discussing this information to pass it on? Because I don't see any of that in what Tim has said.
In the two videos that Tim recently made. about him discussing with feminists that they were, that it was wrong for them to be handling, someone's personal information. These people who he says.
Where is the suggestion that they were going to pass it on? Where is the suggestion? Anywhere that what is some? Describe somebody who is involved in doxing. But why? But this is the thing. You can discuss doxing. You can discuss, and I've
involved in doxing.
No, but where is your evidence they were involved in doxing? You can discuss doxing, and you can point out, as I certainly know from some discussions I've had with a number of these people, just how opposed to doxing we are. But discussing doxing.
Oh, for fuck's sake. This is part of a list of information I'm giving you, Philip. Right?
I'm gonna hammer home on this point. We're not going to move on until we get to this point. I want to know is you have made the suggestion, the very strong suggestion yet again, that they were discussing private information with a view to doxing, with a view to releasing it. Where is your evidence? Because there is no evidence for that at all in the thread that I've read.
In Tim's video, where he says he was having a conversation with him, and they said, "Is it doxing if we pass it on? Is it doxing if we do that?" Go and watch his video. That's where the evidence is, right? Now, Tim, the next day, names the people that he was speaking to. Names the people he was speaking to Bearing Cab, right? Let's move on. Number 4, two editors at fucking Encyclopedia Dramatica, 2 editors have now confirmed that Kristi Winters provided them information. Now,
and you believe them? You believe them?
In isolation, no, I probably wouldn't. But this isn't in isolation. This is part of a set of evidence. Now, listen.
And why do you think they wouldn't have released, as Kristi said herself, just in the hangout we've had, Jesus, if they had that information themselves, if Kristi had got in contact, do you not think they would be, this is Kristi Winters we're talking about, do you not think they would be singing that from the heights? Would they not be releasing the emails and showing the screenshots?
I don't know. This was honestly the first.
This is Encyclopedia Dramatica. This is Encyclopedia fucking Dramatica. You don't think they'd have those screenshots and they'd release them to the world? This is what we were discussing in the hangout. There's credulity and this is credulity. This is beyond Pizzagate. It's beyond Pizzagate. I know you're pissed off, Patrick. I know. And if let me say this. If I were in your position and the fucking horrible, horrible shit that is posted on that Encyclopedia Dramatic page was related to me, I can understand how pissed off you'd be, how pissed off I'd be, and I'd understand that you want to lash out, but you're lashing out at the wrong people. You're lashing out at the wrong people.
Philip, I'm not lashing out at anyone. I've stated.
Look,
I've tried to move on.
But you can't just move on. That's not fair. Okay, you can move on if you don't.
I've stated my opinion. I have every right to do whatever I want to do, Philip.
But you've pointed the finger. It's very interesting, this, Patrick, because it's exactly the same as the discussion we had in that YouTube section. It's exactly the same in that blog post I pointed you to. It's a question of your conscience, right? Similarly with those videos.
No, it's a question of your conscience. You're trying to apply your conscience to me, right?
Okay, well, let's listen to my conscience. Let's listen to, before you butt in, let's...
That's ridiculous.
No, to be fair, I've interrupted you. We're both interrupting each other. Emotions are running high. I can understand from your perspective how pissed off you are to have that fucking horrible shit.
It's done. It's done.
Right, okay, so you don't care. So you don't care about the Encyclopedia Dramatica page? You tell me you don't care about it.
It's done. What good would be?
Right. Okay. Well, let's just back up to that point. The point is this: you have said that you're not comfortable with the idea of people who subscribe to your channel going to completely unrelated videos of channels you've critiqued or videos you've critiqued and bombarding them with abuse. You've told me that directly. Do you still stand by that?
I don't condone it. Not comfortable, I think is the wrong way to describe it. I don't. It doesn't make me comfortable or uncomfortable. I'm indifferent. I don't think that they should do it. I think it is the wrong thing. But does it keep me awake at night? No. because people have every right to express themselves the way that they want, and neither you or I can fucking dictate how they do that.
I'm not suggesting otherwise. I'm just pointing out, as I've said before, the absolute gutlessness, the absolute gutlessness and cowardice. This is just my freedom of speech. Okay, I'm expressing myself. The absolute gutlessness and cowardice of the type of person that hides behind an avatar and a pseudonym and goes to a channel of a teenager whose video's about makeup and tells her she likes to be fucked in all 3 holes. As I pointed out. Now, if you're comfortable, now, as you said, it's about different moral frameworks, and your moral framework might not be the same as mine or might not be the same as any others. I'm simply expressing my opinion, which is what you do, Patrick. If you're comfortable with that, that's fine. If that doesn't play on your conscience, that's absolutely fine.
I don't do it, Philip. That's why.
Oh, so now you're not comfortable with it. Now you're not comfortable with it.
I'm not.
I never said you did it. I never said you did it. What I'm saying is that they would not have found out. They would not have targeted that channel until you made your video about that particular channel. Therefore, there's a difference between causation and correlation, right? As I've said before.
If you're going to just speak over me, there's no point to this, is there? Yeah.
Fine. Go on, speak. Sorry.
Are you saying that I should not make a video expressing my opinion? Is that what you're saying?
No, I'm not. I'm not saying you shouldn't express your. You shouldn't make a video expressing your opinion. Nor have I ever said that. But there's expressing your opinion, and there's just pouring on bile and vitriol and abuse, which, you know, and name calling, right? That's the first thing. The second thing is
No. Let's take that exact example. You're referring. Where this fuckhead's gone to this girl's comment section and talked about, you know, fucking her in 3 holes, whatever. Let's take that exact. What video was that? And what bile did I lay on her? In what way did I abuse her?
So in terms of in that particular case, I've got to admit, your level of bile and vitriol was not quite the same as in others. You know, all you have to do is take a look through your video titles. Oh, sorry, they're gone. Actually, no, in one of the
vitriol, you're not talking about me at all. You're talking about people who aren't me.
Oh, come on, Patrick. Really? Let me get some of your video titles up.
Philip.
Let me get some of your video titles up here. So it's in where, let me see. I'll have to go to the YouTube channel. Let me get.
Listen, I'd like to continue going through this list if I may. Right?
Yeah, you keep going. While you do that, and then I'll come up with some of your video titles, and then we can talk about violent vitriol. Okay.
You listen to me, Phil. We're having a conversation, mate.
Yeah.
So
keep going.
My last point was that 2 editors of ED, the article on ED, have confirmed that the information came from Kristi. Two editors have confirmed that, right? Direct from the horse's mouth.
Yeah, but as I've said, okay, go on, keep going. But as I said, you know, that's not credible. Keep going.
My 5th point is, as part of this doxing campaign, several of my social profiles were hacked. Now, quite a few of them had hacked by Danny Courts left on them. You know, had his signature left on them, right? Yeah, again, so in isolation, inconsequential. It's ridiculous in isolation, but this whole thing isn't in isolation.
It is ridiculous in isolation, yes. But the problem is that these are not the other. Yeah, no, that's good. But the other important thing here, Patrick, is that you're assuming that these are independent events. You cannot take these things in isolation, as you suggest, because there's a complete correlation, there's a complete coherence here. So if somebody is willing to put, you know, if one of your particular fans, as we know, get rather irate and they decide that they're going to drop Danny or Kristi or somebody else in it, what's to stop them making up this information? For me, a key piece of evidence here about the Encyclopedia Dramatica thing, which just doesn't hold up, is exactly what Kristi said. If they had emails from Kristi dropping you in it, they would be broadcast right across the internet. And just now I found that right in terms of the bile and vitriol. Here's just 3 titles. Hideously, from your channel, hideously unattractive male feminist has anger issues. right? So hideously unattractive. You asked me for this evidence. You asked me for this. I'm addressing your question. Queer fat femme Jew goddess, view at own risk. Angry Aussie.
Herself, mate. She dubs herself that, for fuck's sake.
Angry Aussie is a fat, stupid wanker. Did he dub himself?
And have you ever met him?
Right, well, there you go. And so now that I'm also on that frame from the particular video, I must admit I went and listened to some of your music. As I said, not a huge fan, but you know, you do what you want to do. It's actually got a bit of a Billy Bragg tinge to it, which is for me actually a good thing. There's a wonderful lyric. I hope you're responsible for this lyric, given your approach to intellectual property. But it's a wonderful lyric.
And yes, I am. Yes, I am. I am.
Good man.
Absolutely responsible.
Good man. And you'd be really pissed off if somebody ripped it off, wouldn't you?
Several people have.
Yeah, right. When humility and grace outweigh... Hang on, just this is your lyric. This is your lyric. I think it's a fucking great lyric, Patrick. A great, great lyric. When humility and grace outweigh material gain, all the better we will be, all the better we will be. Humility and grace. And then we look at your videos. Angry Aussie is a fat, stupid wanker, hideously unattractive male feminist. Where's the humility? Where's the grace? Or is that's Patrick versus Bearing? Is that the argument?
That's ridiculous. That's ridiculous. So because I have the words humility and grace in one song lyric, I can't call someone a fat wanker.
Do you stand behind that lyric? When humility and grace outweigh material gain, do you stand by that lyric? Absolutely. You do. Right. So the other thing I've got on this frame as well is that you're getting what, $677 per video. And it's interesting, and you know you've got a fan base that will just lap up videos which have got the title "Hideously Unattractive Male Feminist as Angry Issues." Now, if you think that's humility and grace, and you're sticking behind that lyric,
calculate the ad revenue on that, mate.
Say that again. I missed that, Patrick.
I said, and just shy of 500,000 views a day. Calculate the ad revenue on that. But what the?
Well done. So when you said you stood behind that lyric. In terms of outweighing material gain, you actually don't stand behind that lyric, because what you're saying is what really matters or the view counts.
Yeah. How did you become a scientist, mate?
No.
Because I earn money.
So Patrick, let's step back. What do you mean by this lyric? When humility and grace outweigh material gain. Explain to me what you mean by that lyric. I can't see how there's a hidden message there. There you go.
I'm not going through the meaning of my fucking lyrics with you. We're here to discuss.
You stood behind that lyric. You said you had stood behind that lyric. Please explain to me what that lyric means, because for me it's pretty obvious what it means.
We'll go with your definition. You can slag me all you want with what's your
definition? Okay, good. Right. So. Right, and so again, the point you were making was that your videos weren't full of bile and vitriol and abuse, and that's just three I've got there. Hideously unattractive male feminist, Angry Aussie is a fat, stupid wanker. When your videos were up before they had to be taken down because you violated the copyright so badly, that's just what it was. It was just title upon title upon title filled with abuse and filled with slagging off people from behind cover of a cartoon bear. Okay, so let's get back. So you were telling me that a key piece of the evidence was the Encyclopedia Dramatica thing, and I was pointing out that in fact a key piece of the evidence is not the Encyclopedia Dramatica thing, because if that were a key piece of the evidence, the Encyclopedia Dramatica editors would have released that ages ago. Continue.
Okay, all right. So my point was that two of the editors, have confirmed that Kristi provided the info. My next point was that several of my social accounts were hacked in a calling card. Danny Court's hacked this account was left there.
And do you really think? Okay, now let's take this on a point-by-point basis. Do you really think that Danny is going to hack your account and leave a calling card there? You really think he's going to do that? Dear me, that's a level of credulity that's beyond belief, Patrick. Go on, keep going.
So someone must have hacked his Twitter account to leave that message on Fresh TV's on Fresh TV.
No, that's a different point. We've done that point. Yeah, I'm not saying otherwise, but you yourself have argued. You yourself have admitted that what you did was wrong in ripping off that intellectual property.
Yep. That's right.
If somebody ripped off your intellectual property, wouldn't you want to know about it? If I took your songs and just released them and made some money off them, wouldn't you want to know about it? No?
I don't understand. What's your point? What are you getting?
My point is that you ripped off the intellectual property. You're lashing out at Danny for your mistake.
I argue.
What did Danny do wrong? What did Danny do wrong?
Listen to me, for Christ's sake, Philip. Listen to me. I had a copyright dispute with a company who rightfully did own that copyright. We've sorted out that dispute. It's none of your fucking business. We've come to terms with an agreement and we've moved forward. What's this fucking
It's none of your fucking business. You put this stuff out publicly on YouTube. How is it not? It's out in the public domain. None of my fucking business. Wow. So you do this. You put it out there. If it were private material, fine. The point is this. You would
have sorted the dispute out. Well, so why?
Okay. The point is that.
What's your point?
My point is this. You admit freely that nicking that intellectual property.
No, I didn't nick anything. I didn't nick anything. Let's be specific here. Copyright infringement is not stealing. That's why they have laws for stealing and theft, and they have laws for copyright infringement. To steal something means that the original owner doesn't have that thing anymore. If I steal your car, you no longer have a car. If I use your cartoon bear picture, it's not theft. It's copyright infringement, but it's not theft. And I'd appreciate it if you'd stop fucking falsely accusing me of being a thief.
I would call it intellectual theft. I would call it, if you rip off a character and then you take that character and you plaster it on merchandise which you sell, that's pretty close to. We can argue the semantics, but to me that's intellectual theft. But that's it's up to you if you want to argue otherwise.
You're dead set wrong. But anyway, I'll move on to my last point, right? So within 5 or 6 days of ED releasing this Docs article, right? This horrendous Docs article that labels me a fucking pedophile, for Christ's sake. Within 5 or 6 days, Kristi Winters shares that link 3 or 4 times in various different comment sections. I've got screenshots of all of them.
And that's meant to mean that she's behind it? I don't understand. We're talking about the evidence for Kristi being responsible for doxing you. How is that meant to support your case that she's responsible for doxing you?
Kristi actively pushed around my personal information, my sensitive information.
In what sense? That wasn't already publicly available. In what sense did she do that? I've not seen any evidence for that at all.
Well, I'll send it to you. I've got screenshots.
Well, maybe the next time before you make a video pointing a finger, maybe you could include that evidence. Because I've not seen any evidence, and I'm not aware of any evidence that Kristi has done anything like that. Or Danny, in terms of releasing your private evidence before it was already released.
I will send.
And the idea that your case seems to rest on this Encyclopedia Dramatica thing in terms of the editors claiming that Kristi had given them the information. I will say again, that just doesn't hold up. It doesn't hold up.
Philip, let me ask you something, right? So you're saying that this information was already public, right? So how does that mean that Kristi had any responsibility for doxing? Let me ask you, right? If you got up in the morning, right, and you found that I had shared a link to, say, a Blogger page or a WordPress page that had a big article about you written up accusing you of being a pedophile, would that not faze you? Because
of course, Patrick, I'm not saying it wouldn't faze me, but that doesn't. Of course, and you heard me when I was saying.
Would you lay any blame on me if this random page accusing you of being a pedophile was shared around by me on several sites?
Would I blame you for doxing you?
Hold any animosity
no,
towards me?
Patrick, I'd be pissed off with you, but I wouldn't blame you for doxing me. Absolutely not, because there's no evidence to. I might, in the heat of anger and the heat of being pissed off for those horrible fucking things that. Just let me finish, Patrick. I did listen to you last time. I did listen to you. Just let me finish. I can understand entirely and I can empathize fully how pissed off you must be, because that's fucking horrible to be accused of that. I know that. But you're lashing out at the wrong people. I've said this before, but you're lashing out at the wrong people.
Philip,
right? There is no matter what you think, there is no, if that page is shit. Sorry, say that again, I missed you.
This is an incredibly dangerous precedent you're setting. So what you're saying is that for somebody to share around a link to a information source that has false accusations and incredibly sensitive information about you on it, you're totally scot-free. No problem. No problem.
No, but
can you imagine how many random blogs and WordPresses and free fucking web hosting accounts are going to pop up, over the next week with doxers on them and people shitting.
But this is okay. The chronology, Patrick, I understand you're pissed off. Right, you've just told me that a few minutes ago that you weren't at all, that you wanted to move on. It's absolutely clear you're pissed off, and you've got every right to be pissed off. But the chronology here is very important. The chronology, you are saying that the person responsible for releasing or the people responsible for initially releasing
Yes, these
private information.
These are separate things.
And nothing you have. No, I know they're separate, but what the key point here is the question of evidence. Nothing you have said throughout this and I'm going to have to go in about 2 minutes. I'm already late. Nothing you have said has given me any reason. Sorry, go on.
I was up front since the start of this. I always said this is my opinion. This is what I believe. And would I have enough evidence to prove this if it were a court hearing? No, I wouldn't. So you proving...
Okay, good. Let's leave it at that. That's great. I've got to dash off. That's exactly, I think that's a very fair statement that you just don't have the evidence. You've clearly admitted that. And as you say, you've been upfront about it. I'd like to say it's been a pleasure chatting.
I know she's sorry. And I know that it will come out. But,
that's, there are countless millions of people who believe that there was a paedophile ring in the basement, a non-existent basement of a pizzeria as well. It depends on what you set as the threshold for your evidence. It's what you set as the threshold for your evidence. See you later.